Adam Warlock? Hi, I'm Jack, and welcome back, because today I'm going to give you guys my spoiler-free review for one of my most anticipated movies of the year and the final movie within James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, once again directed by James Gunn, bringing back the entire cast and crew with some new faces. I'm super excited to talk to you guys about this one. Let me know down below in the comments, what's your take on this movie? I would love to know that. And with that said, let's get started. The movie follows the Guardians of the Galaxy as Peter Quill is still reeling from the loss of Gamora, and they must band together to defend the universe and protect Rocket, as he is in grave danger. If the mission is not completed successfully, it could lead to the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy. This was one of the MCU movies that I was the most excited for years. I love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2. I loved all their appearances. And I just love these characters ever since the very first movie by James Gunn. And James Gunn is one of my favorite comic book movie directors working today, because not only did I love his work on even the Suicide Squad, but I also am a big fan of Peacemaker. And so for years, I was excited to see the third and final installment within his Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And I love the trailers, the marketing, the cast, the characters. And not only was I super excited to watch it, but I was also so scared for how emotionally heartbreaking the movie was going to be, because it's the last movie. And knowing how the other two movies played out, I had a feeling that was going to carry over here. And I saw the movie twice as I was making this video. So now that I have seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in its entirety, I absolutely loved it. It's a triumphant grand slam of a finale that wraps up everything on a really strong note, with the charm, the heart, the humor, and by far being the most darkest movie within the trilogy. To start off with the positives, I loved the performances in this movie. From a lot of these cast members, this is my favorite performance they've ever delivered as these characters, especially Bradley Cooper as Rocket. This is his movie. He is the heart and soul of Volume 3. We see his backstory, how Rocket came to be, and it is heartbreaking. There are so many scenes here that are an absolute punch in the gut. And I loved him so much in the MCU, and this movie just hammers it home why I love Rocket, and Bradley Cooper is phenomenal here.
Pete, I'm done running.
Chris Pratt also delivers by far my favorite performance as Star-Lord, showing that he cares for this team and this family, and that he will go do whatever it takes to succeed, and he will do whatever is necessary to ensure their survival and that they save the galaxy again. And I've always loved Chris Pratt as this character, and once again, he is fantastic in this movie. And Zoe Saldaña plays the Gamora from Endgame, the 2014 version, because of the original Gamora dying in Infinity War. And I liked how the movie utilizes her and just how she grows over the course of this movie, being around the Guardians, knowing like this is not the same Gamora that they are used to. And how does she factor into all this? What does she do? I thought Zoe was fantastic here. And even characters like Drax, Nebula, Mantis, they get a lot of really good scenes all together to showing what they're capable of, and even just showing how they've grown over the course of this trilogy here. This is a movie that does a really good job of balancing each of the Guardians of the Galaxy to give them all scenes and a highlight moment in the movie. And Groot, what can I say about Groot? Groot is awesome in Volume 3. A lot of standout moments from Groot. And even these side characters like Kraglin is cool, Cosmo I love, and even the villain, the High Evolutionary, who is probably the most unlikable villain of the whole MCU. If I thought Thanos was bad in terms of just how evil he can be, High Evolutionary takes that cake. He is the most ruthless, cruel, meanest villain, not only in the Guardians trilogy, but in like one of the comic book movies of all time. He is ruthless. There are so many things the High Evolutionary does where I want to see him pay. I want to see so many bad things that happen to him, because he is a nasty and cruel villain. And Chukwudi Iwuji plays him marvelously. He's a really compelling threat in this movie and gives us a sense of urgency, which the movie has. Right off the bat, we know what needs to be accomplished, what the goal is, how they need to stop this, and what they're going to do, and the lengths they travel to in order to accomplish that goal. The visual effects in Volume 3 are incredible. This ranks up there with some of the best visual effects I've ever seen for an MCU movie, up there with the likes of Guardians 2, Guardians 1, Infinity War, Eternals, Multiverse of Madness. It is amazing from beginning to end. Each location has a very unique flair and style to it that stands out. And the locations are brought to life very well to feel like this is immersive. I was in this locations with these characters, and James Gunn once again really gives us this feel like this really is a movie that takes place in so many locations, and so as taking us on this grand sci-fi adventure where they go all across the universe to succeed in their mission to save one of their own and to stop the High Evolutionary. And it's incredible how good this movie looks. This is one of the best looking comic book movies I have ever laid eyes on. The soundtrack is catchy. There's a lot of really good songs that fit the movie well. The needle drops are done well, with standouts being Since You've Been Gone, Come and Get Your Love returns in the movie. No Sleep Till Brooklyn stands out a lot. Creep is also very good. There is a lot of really great songs in this movie, and although I still prefer the soundtracks of Volume 1 and 2, Volume 3 has another really good movie soundtrack that stands out with some great needle drops. Without a doubt, the action sequences in Volume 3 are the best in the Guardians trilogy and in the MCU as a whole, with utilizing all the strengths and the abilities our characters are capable of doing. And there is a one-take hallway fight in the climax of this movie that my jaw was on the floor for. It was incredible the way that was assembled, put together, and really gives us the team at full strength. And it is a sight to behold, from the way it is shot to the way it's filmed and the choreography and the characters, the context of everything. It just gives you a sense of excitement and energy that bleeds on screen. And throughout a lot of the action sequence in the movie, from beginning to end, they're very well filmed. And especially certain sequences here give me even more excitement to see what James Gunn does with Superman Legacy, because he's now tackling Superman for the DCU he's making. So I am excited to see what he does with that, because a lot of the action sequences here give me a lot of optimism to see where James Gunn goes with Superman. But in the context of this movie, the action sequences are just incredible with all these characters, and they are by far my favorite in the trilogy. This is also the darkest movie in the entire Guardians trilogy and in the MCU. There is a lot of sequences that are going to come off as disturbing to people. If you are a big animal lover and you are all against animal cruelty, you should be very, very careful with this movie, because Volume 3 does not hold back with how mature and dark it gets. And a lot of those sequences really broke my heart. It gave me the emotion that James Gunn wanted me to feel, where I felt awful for the characters, and the sequences of animal cruelty really add a sense of urgency, and it really makes me want to see the High Evolutionary get what's coming for him. And throughout this movie, it gives you a really dark and mature vibe to it. It is showing us why we need the Guardians and Rocket to stop the High Evolutionary. And the movie never loses the heart and the charm of the other Guardians movies when we get into Volume 3, because while Volume 3 gets dark, it does not hold back with how mature it gets. It still has the charm, the heart, the humor of the movie. And a lot of the jokes really land for me in Volume 3, as they usually have with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And so it does a good job of balancing the grittiness, the mature tone of Volume 3 with the mature themes it has, while also still having the heart, the charm, and the humorous nature that we come to know from the movies. This movie is a tearjerker. This is another really emotional installment within the Guardians trilogy, and it's one of the most emotional comic book movies I have ever watched. From the disturbing content to Rocket's origin stories, to the Guardians characters and how they've grown over the course of the series, to even the resolution of it all. I was weeping at many points throughout this movie, and James Gunn executed it marvelously with another well-directed installment from him. And I was absolutely satisfied with the way a lot of these characters were left off. I was satisfied with how it ended. And it leaves me with a sense of finality that I haven't really gotten from the MCU since Avengers Endgame. And it really stands out amongst the rest of the recent MCU movies, where this movie had a sense of finality, closure, and if this is the last time I see a lot of these characters, I'm perfectly content with this. And from beginning to end, there was so much stakes where I was hoping that certain characters were going to make it out alive, because everybody in this movie was in danger. And it had the urgency, the stakes, the really big emotional moments, whether it's emotional in a happy way or emotional in a sad way. And this movie gives me all the feels at the right time and utilized it really efficiently. Adam Warlock is a mixed point I've seen for this movie from many people, and for what it was, I actually like Will Poulter as Adam Warlock. I think he's great casting. There are sequences with him that I was a big fan of, especially with his character, and although it did feel like I could have used more of Adam Warlock, I was still satisfied with what we got of him, and I definitely hope that we'll see him again more in the future of the MCU down the line. All in all, I absolutely loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's a marvelously directed movie by James Gunn with a beautiful and dark story with heart, humor, and charm that I love, with great character utilizations once again. And it by far wraps up this whole trilogy on a really satisfying note that it ranks amongst not only one of my favorite MCU movies of the past couple of years, but one of my favorite MCU movies ever made. So in the end, I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 an A+. This is my favorite comic book movie of the year so far, and for being one of my top 6 most anticipated movies of the year, this one started off very strong, and right now it's my favorite movie of the year. I love the Guardians. I was satisfied with how it ended, and I love these characters so much, and it does everything I hoped it would do and so much more, and it really had me hooked on a feeling one last time with the Guardians. So I hope you guys go check it out, but make sure you keep in mind that it's going to be a pretty disturbing movie for people. It's a much darker installment than what we're used to in the MCU. So if you are a really big animal lover, be very careful with this movie heading into it, because it will break your heart. So definitely go check out this movie if you love the Guardians, if you love the MCU. This is definitely the kind of comic book movie I think we need right now, and I hope it succeeds. And for James Gunn's last MCU movie, it definitely ended his run on a really high note, and it does leave me very optimistic to see what he does with DC, especially with Superman Legacy. So I absolutely love this movie, and I hope you guys will go check it out soon. So yeah, that's my review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What are your thoughts on the movie? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Stay tuned for some upcoming videos I have planned very soon. I may make a spoiler review for this movie, so stay tuned for that now that the summertime is almost here. And don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below at the bottom of the screen and in the description below, so please go do that while you're at it. And thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button, and stay tuned for more.